Hi, my name is Barry Sterling Mitchell. I produce the Sterling Net Point Power Rankings and the Bias Plus reports, and this is Ben and Barry on football.
Hello out there. This is Ben Dickerson, your co-host, lover of everything football, especially the NFL. We've been going over the Pro Football Focus rankings for offensive linemen. We did the bottom half last week, got the top half for you this week from number 15 all the way up to number 1.
Yeah. I just want to mention for our radio listeners on WJRL953.com for Friday from 6 to 7:30. We're going to jump right into the rankings of these linemen because we want to make sure that we complete this by the end of the show. Feel free to come back to our YouTube channel or just visit our website at www.benandbarryonfootball.com, and then you can find us at our podcast, at our YouTube channel, and at all of our social media. So Ben, we are at what number?
I believe we're at number 15.
Number 15, eh? The Green Bay Packers coming in right in the middle of the pack, as a matter of fact.
Yes, sir. As an offensive line, they're coming in as an offensive line unit, I should say. They're coming in right in the middle of the pack. But let's remember, Green Bay Packers were a couple of plays away from going to the Super Bowl when they lost the game to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So, again, like I did last week, let me remind everybody, these rankings are made by Pro Football Focus. They have their own ranking system. They rank each individual player on all the skills needed to play their position, and then they average them together to come up with a grade for the entire unit. So the Packers are coming in at 15, so let's talk about the Packers. At left tackle, David Bakhtiari. He's a premier pass blocker and a very solid run blocker. At right tackle, they have Rick Wagner. Well, let me put it this way. Rick Wagner was a solid pass protector and run blocker, but he sustained some injuries last year. After he sustained those injuries, Billy Turner was able to come in, fill in for him, and prove his worth. Since then, Wagner has been released. So Billy Turner will be the starting right tackle. They also lost their starting center, who's arguably one of the best centers in the league. That's Corey Linsley. Linsley's gone. That could be a big deal, but he'll be replaced by Josh Myers, who was drafted in this season's draft in the second round. So they're expecting a lot out of him. He'll probably start. I'm pretty sure he's going to start. Lucas Patrick returns at right guard, and several players will return and will compete for the other guard spot and possibly a backup tackle spot. So it's been a lot of movement going on. Two really good players are now no longer there. One was released, one was to let go into free agency. So the Packers are a little in flux now as far as their offensive line is concerned.
Did I see it correctly? What were the Packers last year? Did it say? It says
what
here.
Were they? You mean their record?
Yeah. In the rankings last year, it says, and what I'm reading, Packers offensive linemen ranked 4th in overall grade over the past 3 years, and the unit finished 2020 with the number 2 ranking in the league.
Okay. Yeah. They were 2 plays away from the Super Bowl.
I don't remember people giving the Packers that much respect for their line last year.
As far as what? Talking about?
We start saying that they were like, almost the best line in the NFL. I just don't remember people saying.
You may not have heard it. You may not have heard it come out of anybody's mouth. But if Aaron Rodgers was the MVP, Devontae Adams was arguably the best or second best receiver in the league. Robert Tonyan, a tight end that nobody ever heard of, had a phenomenal season. and Aaron Jones is running all over the doggone place, you don't need anybody to tell you that their offensive line was good.
Wow. Pretty good team that Aaron Rodgers is about to walk away from, or whatever he's going to do. That's going to be very interesting. All right. Who's up next?
Up next at number 14, I have the Tennessee Titans.
So we're talking about the Titans, and they're number 14 on the list. Last year they had the number 1 running back in the league, right? Derrick Henry.
Yes, sir. That's true.
So much of that apparently was on Henry. If they're coming in at 14, I'm not sure what they were last year, but tell me what they're doing now.
Well, let's remember these are overall grades, which include individual grades for each and every player that got a significant number of snaps, combining run blocking and pass blocking. Okay. So that being said, what I will tell you is they were a top run blocking unit last year, which everybody obviously could see, but they were in the bottom 4th in pass protection. Now, left tackle Taylor Lewan returns after an injury-plagued 2020. He's an excellent player, both in the run and the pass. But again, lots of injuries last year. They're hoping that he has a bounce-back season. Right tackle should go to a rookie, Dylan Radunes. And when we had our rookie show and our draft show, we talked about Dylan Radunes being graded very high at the position. He was selected in the 2nd round, and they'll be expecting big things from him. I think he's going to come through for them at the right tackle spot. The left guard is Roger Saffold, and right guard Nate Davis. Both of them excel in the run game, but the entire line has got to show improvement in pass protection. That's the only way they're going to get rated higher for this season.
Well, let's see here. In the trusty old Madden ratings, they have Taylor Lewan at 86, Ben Jones at center, 81, and Roger Saffold at 84. That's a pretty solid line, Ben. And again, last week we were looking at the EA Madden ratings for the lower half of the linemen, and the numbers were coming in the 60s and in the low 70s, and now you can see we're in the 80s to the mid 80s. So these guys are coming in with better personal attributes. They're stronger, they're faster, and what I did look at last week, we looked at a little bit, especially we were interested in where the center was, awareness. Look at Taylor Lewan, 95, Ben Jones, 90, and Roger Saffold, 91. So that's great. I mean, these guys are on top of things, man, as far as that's concerned. So we should see some interesting things from the Titans this year.
Yes, I agree. I agree 100%. Let's just remember, these are combined grades when we're talking about Pro Football Focus, and I'm expecting the Madden ratings to be kind of combined grades also. So if they're excellent in the run game and they're okay in the pass game, they may still come out with really good numbers as an overall grade.
Okay. All right. Who we got next?
Next up, number 13. Number 13, we have the Buffalo Bills.
Just had a nice little thunder pop outside there.
Yeah, I did too. That was pretty disconcerting there. So anyway, let's talk about the Buffalo Bills. So both tackles for the Bills, left tackle Deion Dawkins and right tackle Darrell Williams, both played extremely, extremely well last season, especially in the passing game. They're very, very good pass blockers. Center Mitch Morse also excels at pass protection. John Feliciano will be starting at right guard, and left guard will be Cody Ford. Both of them are expected to improve overall going into their 3rd seasons. So let me remind you again, something that I said in the last video when we did the bottom half of these units. Most offensive linemen that don't blow up in their rookie year, but play well and maybe are forced into a starting job, usually begin to show great improvement in their third or fourth season. So the Bills have two guys going into their third seasons that started last year and will be starting again this year going into their third seasons. So yes, they're expecting those guys to step up.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. Buffalo Bills. So let's take a quick look here at the Buffalo Bills. I mean, what did I call them last week? Your junior team? You,
Yeah,
you,
don't do that.
you took umbrage at
I don't
what do
have,
you call them? Your favorite AFC team? Is that what you call them?
they're my favorite AFC team to watch and root for.
To
Let me
watch
get
and
real specific here. Okay. They're not my team. I only have one team.
interesting looking at the Madden ratings. Um, lower, lower than the previous group. So they're a step higher, but their Madden ratings 80, 81, and 76 seem to belie the totality of this offensive line. I'm just looking here real quick to see, and we have an awareness of 85 for Morse, 91 for Dawkins, and 80. So nothing wrong with this group at all. I'm just surprised that the rankings were coming out a little bit lower and not a step up from the previous number. All right, let's see who we have next.
At number 12, we're talking about the Baltimore Ravens.
Ben, I'm kind of pissed at the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, I'm playing Madden against them, man, and the stuff that Lamar's pulling off on me in the game is ridiculous. It's amazing, but he's got the line. So tell us about it.
Well, they were a top 5 overall unit in 2019, but they fell off a little bit last season. Main reason for that was they lost their left tackle, Ronnie Stanley. He was injured, and that really hurt the unit. Right tackle Orlando Brown was traded to the Chiefs, so he will now be replaced by free agent pickup Alejandro Villanueva, who they got from the Pittsburgh Steelers. So they lost a really good right tackle, but they got back a really good right tackle. So I think that's going to kind of be a wash. The problem is, and it might not be a big problem, but it could be a problem, is Villanueva's played left tackle for the Steelers basically for his entire career. He will now be moving to right tackle. So there's a big difference between left tackle and right tackle in the way you play, your footwork, what hand you put down in the dirt. It's a lot of differences, but he's such a good player. They expect him to be able to transition into that. Shouldn't be too much of a problem. Left guard, Bradley Bozeman returns, and the center returns also. That's Patrick McCary. But there will be a competition between them for the starting center spot, and that may leave left guard as a question mark. So usually what happens, if guys can play center, then they can probably play guard. And what happens is if you have a center competition and it's close, one guy wins out, the other guy becomes a guard. That's the easiest way to put it. Unless somebody else comes in and challenges from the draft, maybe a rookie or an undrafted free agent comes in or something that we haven't heard about. Other than that, the battle between those two guys will probably be settled that way. One will go to starting center, the other guy will move to guard.
Awesome, awesome. Orlando Brown, right tackle. I was surprised he's only rated 82 on Madden. He's 93 in strength, and he's got decent awareness at 84. But I was a little surprised. Joe Tooney, 84. He's definitely a high awareness guy, and that's at your left guard. And where did he come in at? 91. And then your Austin Blythe at 82. So he's rated 76, lowest rated of the three. So you like this unit?
I mean, I expect Villanueva to step in for Orlando Brown without too much of a problem. And if you look at the fact that the Ravens were willing to trade Brown and couple that with what you just said about his Madden rating, perhaps the Ravens feel like he's on the downside of his career, and that's what made them more, willing to trade him. Villanueva is a really good player. I think he's a little younger than Brown. So I think he'll be, as long as he can make the transition from left tackle to right tackle pretty seamlessly, and he'll work it out in training camp, they should be fine.
All right. Who's up next?
Up next, number 11. We're almost in the top 10. Number 11 is the Arizona Cardinals.
Cardinals.
So now I know people are going, wait a minute, they're almost a top 10 offensive line. They weren't even that good last year. No, the team itself wasn't that good, but the offensive line was pretty good. Okay. They've excelled on pass plays over the last 2 seasons, but they're bottom 10 in the run game. Okay. This is as a unit. They're really good in pass protection, but bottom 10 in the run game. Hence, look at all the receivers they've been picking. They just grabbed AJ Green. They're low number receivers. They're becoming a passing team. Okay? If you didn't consider them a passing team last season, you can start considering them a passing team now. That's the type of offensive line they have. Their run game is going to be limited because they pick and draft and practice and train to be great pass blockers, which they are. Kyler Murray has got to work with that. That's what he's got to work with. That's what they're going to be. Now, the one good run blocker that they have is actually, and he's actually a great run blocker, is their left tackle, which is DJ Humphries. Their right tackle, Kelvin Beachum, excels in pass protection, just like just about everybody else. And right guard, Justin Murray, does the same thing. Justin Pugh is the left guard, and the center is Rodney Hudson. He's also a top pass blocker at the center position, but not really great against the run. So there you have it. You have a highly ranked unit, offensive line unit, that is so good at pass protection that they're mediocre or sub-average, if you want to call it, run blocking is completely overshadowed just about because they pass block so well.
All right, this kind of reminds me of we've had sort of a conversation mainly with receivers about the numbers and their rankings being affected by the offensive schemes that these guys run. So this is the air raid. Am I not correct?
That's what it's supposed to be called, right?
Yeah, this is the air raid. So pass. I don't know how much running is being done out of the air raid in any event. So, I mean, if you weren't going to be great, run blockers, that makes sense. But do you think now that the Cardinals are beginning to think about running the ball more?
I think they've already begun to think about it. And I think they probably ran the ball more than they were equipped to do. And that's why they weren't as successful in the run game as they wanted to. But I think along the way, what's the coach's name? Kingsbury?
Right.
I think he realized that he needs a little bit more balance than what he came into the season thinking he would need. So they tried to kind of force the run game. They had Kenyon Drake and they had Nate Edmonds as the running backs. Drake's now been traded to the Raiders, so Edmonds will be the starter. It's a crazy thing. But the one thing's for sure, they stay on top of their receiver unit. So if you got good receivers and you got great pass blockers, now it's on Kyler Murray, okay? Any rushing numbers they have are enhanced by Kyler Murray because he scoots around and he runs downfield. But they're set up to be a passing team.
Yeah.
So they're either going to go one way or the other. or I've heard rumor that Kingsbury might be on the hot seat this year anyway. So we'll see.
I've heard the word hot seat and Kingsbury used together
Yes, yes,
also.
yes.
I mean, when you come in, and we talked about the air raid at length when he came in as a new coach. We even looked back on his days in college to see how things worked out. One of the things about Kyler Murray being the perfect quarterback was that he had that air raid experience. So it wasn't, although it was a new offense to the NFL, it wasn't new to Kyler Murray. So he was able to come in and be somewhat effective. But the question was, will it uh, will it work in the NFL? And that was the question. Where's the green grass? You come out, Kyler looks. I don't know how these audibles are working now. With him being able to say, okay, green grass for you is here, and then if he's really making all of those necessary changes in the offensive patterns that you're supposed to do at the line of scrimmage as a part of the air raid. So I'm not sure how all that's working, but again, in the NFL, you got to have multiple style games for the different situations. You have to be able to play situational ball, So it's 3 minutes.
Right,
You got a lead. You got to be able to run the ball.
right. But remember, we also say that you have to kind of tailor your schemes to the players that you have, or you have to draft and pick up players that fit your schemes.
That's what they did, apparently.
That's what they thought they did originally. But I'll tell you the truth,
Really?
after watching the Cardinals play on offense and after watching Kyler Murray, I think they would be better suited to try to emulate the Ravens offense. Now, the Ravens offense is more run centric. So obviously there would have to be some changes made on the offensive line. But I don't think this air raid thing in the NFL fits Kyler Murray, or Kyler Murray does not fit it. It's just not. You got receivers up the yin yang, and you got the best pass blocking line in the league, and you're not blowing teams out. I don't even remember them running up a lot of games with high scores.
Well, again, you got to win. You got to win at your number of different receivers. So it will be interesting to see how they make out in this coming week, because this coming year, rather, if this is a prove it year for the Arizona Cardinals in terms of their scheme. The one thing that we said about the Ravens and what they run is that they also have a second quarterback and a third quarterback that can run the same scheme. So they're very consistent. I don't know who's
Right, but
backing
they
up.
built that scheme to fit their quarterback. Kyler Murray does not, in my opinion, Kyler Murray does not fit a high volume pass offensive scheme.
No, I'm not arguing with you.
I
I
could
kind of
put Kyler Murray, I could put Kyler Murray on the Baltimore Ravens, and he'd be a freaking superstar.
Yeah, and I agree with you in terms of Kyler Murray. My question was about the backups that the Ravens were. Again, I gave them credit for having backups who could at the very least run the same schemes, and so something, because you got a running quarterback, you have a higher potential probability of an injury. Who's backing up Kyler Murray? Do they have, do you know? If you don't know, that's fine. We'll find that out. But I don't know if they could switch over. Like, even when I was telling you, I play with the Niners, I use the Ravens offense. But nowadays, especially with Lance, Trey Lance coming in, if, a Garoppolo goes down, I have actually a backup who can run it better than he can.
Well, right now, with everything even and everybody healthy, if the scheme doesn't fit the starter, what good does it matter who the backup is?
Well, you got a point there. You got a point there. All right.
Kingsbury's going to be out of here soon. I'm telling you right now. He will definitely go before anybody else does. It's a shame. He's built an offense around Kyler Murray that I don't think Kyler Murray can excel in. Not in the NFL. In college, yes. The NFL, no.
All right.
You know.
All right. We got you there. All right, Benny, this is the fun part of this show. When you get to the top 10, you know, a lot of the people who do these lists, they only do the top 10 or the top five. You know, we do all 32. We're comprehensive in terms of that. So let's go with number 10 here. And who do we have?
Yeah, and we do that because what you mentioned. We do that because we're fan friendly, and we want you to know where your team stands. You know,
Absolutely.
everybody's not a fan of the top 10 teams at whatever particular unit we may be doing, so we have to let you know where your team stands at every different position. So now we're in the top 10, and we're going to start the top 10 off with a surprise to a lot of people, but not to me. And that is the offensive line of the Detroit Lions.
Mm.
Yeah. Detroit Lions come in at number 10 for Pro Football Focus. Their left tackle is Taylor Decker. He's an above average run and pass blocker, and he's coming off of his best season from 2020. At right tackle, the Lions will plug in a rookie. This is how highly they think of this rookie, Penei Sewell. You heard
Yeah.
about him in our draft video? Yeah, right. You heard about him in our draft video. You heard about him in our upcoming rookie video. This guy was the 7th overall pick in this year's draft. You darn right he's going to start right away at right tackle. Frank Ragnow is a stud in the making, having improved each year of his 3-year career. Once again, he's been in the league 3 years. He's coming into his 4th year. This is when offensive linemen really start to blossom. Let's see, where am I here? Ragnow. In fact, not only is he a stud in the making, as I called him, coming into his 4th season now, he was ranked the number 3 center overall last season. So
Wow.
I think that's amazing, especially for a team like the Lions, okay, to have a guy ranked that high on any particular unit, I think is great. The right guard is Hala Vaitai. Obviously, his first name is far longer and unpronounceable for me. So I'm just going to call him Hala, but you know the last name is Vaitai. He spent most of his career playing offensive tackle for the Eagles, in fact. He filled in for Jason Peters at left tackle. He filled in for Lane Johnson at right tackle. He's big. He's strong. He's like 6'6", 320. So fitting in at tackle is no big deal. But he's going to move to guard now for the Lions. Left guard is going to be Jonah Jackson. He's going to need to improve on his below average rookie season. But again, just a rookie coming into his 2nd season. Usually around the 3rd or 4th season is when these guys blossom. So you got a lot of up and comers on the Detroit Lions, a lot of guys that have an opportunity to really hit their stride going into this season. That's going to be big for them if they can pull it off.
Well, let's start with Mr. Vaitai. And I gotta give you credit. That was very slick, man. Holla. Just because the rest of it, I was gonna leave to you anyway.
Yeah, really. I played with it. I tried to say it.
Uh-huh.
I played around with it because I was going to try to bust it out on you, but I gave up.
You do a pretty good job. You do a better job than I do normally. But Mr. Vaitai is coming in at an overall rating of 67 and an awareness rating. What was that? 72. So he's a big fall off from the other two. Ragnow's coming in at an 86 overall, and Decker is coming in at 78 overall. Their awareness ratings, and then you're looking at their strong guys 90 and 92, but their awareness is 92. So you got some serious, brain cells going on there. Mr. Vaitai is going to have to catch up a little bit, and maybe after getting a chance to play, his rankings will increase also.
And all of these guys are relatively young, and then you're going to plug in a rookie at right tackle who could possibly be better than all of them.
Yeah,
this could be a formidable unit. And when I first started thinking about this, their offensive line, before I even got to the point where we were going to do a video on offensive lines, I was looking over the fantasy rankings of the running backs, and Oh, I just went blank on a name. The running back for the Lions, Swift.
Okay.
How could I forget Swift? He's from Philadelphia, Ben. Come on,
Right,
stop.
right.
Okay. Swift is ranked really high
Oh,
this
really?
season, coming into this fantasy season. Yes, his projections are way up there. He's up there with Aaron Jones and Chris Carson and those guys. He's up there, man. And I was like, whoa, they got him ranked really high. I mean, he played okay last season, but then I started looking at this and I was like, oh, okay, I see what's going on. So, oh yeah, watch out for the
So,
Detroit Lions.
watch out for Goff. Wouldn't it be funny if the Lions had a better season than the Rams?
That's not going to happen, bro.
You got to remember the
That's not
divisions
going to
are
happen.
different. The
It's not going to happen.
competition's different.
It's
And
not going to happen.
now Cam's not there, so they're going to have to go to another running back.
It's not going to happen.
Not going to happen, eh?
No, sir.
All right. But it would be funny, though. That would be strange. That would be strange. All right. Who's up next?
Up next is your team, number 9, the San Francisco 49ers.
So, who was that you said we were talking about
You
next?
heard me. It's the San Francisco 49ers.
The San Fran AC. You know about this? You know about this team? You know about this team, man? Tell us about him. Uncle Ben, tell us. Say, Uncle Ben, tell us about him.
All right, we're going to tell the boober about the San Francisco 49ers.
Go ahead.
So, their left tackle is Trent Williams. Last season, well, let me put it this way. He was injured for most of the 2019 season. Last season, he came back, played extremely well, showed no rust after missing 2019. He's a superb pass blocker, best run blocking tackle in the game, some say. Guess who's the second best run blocker in the game? That's some say. That would be their right tackle, which is Mike McGlinchey. So you got Trent Williams, Mike McGlinchey, bookend tackles, and superb run blockers. Adequate pass blockers, but they really excel at the run. Okay? Your left guard is Laken Tomlinson, also an excellent run blocker. And your right guard will probably be Aaron Banks, although I think there will be some competition for that position. Everybody's pretty good at the run game. Well, more than pretty good at the run game, pretty good in the passing game. Obviously, they're going to need to improve that if they're going to keep Jimmy G upright. Of course, keeping Jimmy G upright might not be a priority anymore now that you have Trey Lance rather. So, but that's your team, so you can kick that one around. You got an excellent center in free agency. That would be Alex Mack, that comes over from the Falcons. So he's reunited with Shanahan, so that's a good deal. Alex Mack is a very good center.
Well, now, Madden says the same thing that you say. Alex Mack comes over when the Falcons rated 87 on the Madden ratings. Trent Williams is 94, and Laken Tomlinson's coming in at 79. Let's see. What's their awareness ratings? Huh? All right, let's just see if we can figure that out real quick while I got you. 94, 91, and 87. These guys got the smarts, Benny. These guys got the smarts.
Yeah, they're all veteran players. So, well coached, established veteran players. Obviously, if you watch the 49ers and you watch them run with Mostert and then come back with the guy that's with the McKinnon, Jeff Wilson. I mean, you can run down a list of names of running backs that have played and or are still on the 49ers, and they've all had success. Part of that is because Shanahan knows running backs, and the other part of that is they got an excellent run blocking offensive line.
Absolutely. Thumbs up, Bubba? Thumbs up. Who's up next, Benny? Who's on first?
We're at number 8, and we're talking about the Los Angeles Rams. Now, let me say this. As a unit, they rebounded very well from a poor showing in 2019 and graded out last season as the number 3 offensive line overall. Okay? Left tackle Andrew Whitworth, at 39 years of age, is still a solid player and still playing well. In fact, he's playing extremely well. Even though he missed some games last year due to injury, he was able to come back, and I think he played fairly well in the playoffs. But he's been having good season after great season after good season for his entire career. He's 39. He's still a starter. The right tackle is Rob Havenstein or Havenstein. I think it's Havenstein. He's playing well also, well above average, in fact, both at the run and the pass. Left guard David Edwards had a strong season and only his second year. Okay, so again, getting ready to hit that third year. They're expecting him to play better. Right guard Austin Corbett had a breakout season in his third year. Again, there's that third year number again for offensive lineman, and he had a breakout season in his third year. He could take another step and be even better going into his fourth season. Brian Allen is going to be the starting center. He missed some time with injury, but here's the most interesting thing about him. He's actually the very first NFL player to test positive for COVID in April of 2020.
Really?
He was the first.
Wow.
Brian Allen, the center for the Los Angeles Rams. Not a great thing to have on your resume, but he's the starting center. So we'll leave it like that.
You know, so much is happening right now. I told everybody, and I told you that I was kind of going to just hold on to my quarantine. There's some traveling decisions that I need to make because I have a family reunion that people had scheduled and stuff like that. But I really wanted to see what was going to happen after the July 4th holidays. You know, they say it takes about 2 weeks for anybody who's infected that doesn't know it to show up. So I said, well, I'll wait. And man, it's popping all over the place.
That is correct. There were big gatherings, not just family things, but there were concerts and all kinds of, people going crazy, man.
Crazy. All right, so the Rams here, we have Whitworth on Madden rated at 87, Austin Corbett at 75, and Bobby Evans Jr.
Yeah, I can't impress this enough on people. Andrew Whitworth is 39 years old.
Well, he's got a 92 rating in strength and a 95 in awareness. When you got those two going for you, you are a tough guy, man.
Yeah, but you can hold it up till you're 39 years old. There's guys that have that when they're 26.
Maybe not the awareness.
Well, no, you should keep your awareness. I'm talking about the strength.
But the strength,
your awareness.
I mean, they usually don't have the level of awareness necessarily at 26.
Oh, right. I understand that. I understand that. That's gonna go up with age, and that's gonna go up with experience. Yeah. But to hold a 92 at strength at 39, that's freaking amazing.
That's good, man. That's good, you know. And 87, that's not bad. So again, you got a strong left tackle, decent right guard. You have a right tackle there that's on the lower side. So who do you say we should be looking out for in the Rams?
Well, you got to look out for Whitworth, and the center's an up and comer too.
Okay, fantastic. All right, so Benny, when you get to the top 7, again, usually you're talking playoff contenders. And when we're talking about our net points and things of that nature, and we'll have to track this to see if the same thing holds for linemen. So who do we have at number 7?
Well, sir, at number 7, we have a very interesting team to talk about, especially at this position of offensive line, and that is the Kansas City Chiefs. Seems that last season, as we were going through our power rankings and going through the season, leading up to and through the Super Bowl, we spoke about the Chiefs' offensive line pretty much every time we talked, it came up, including the Super Bowl. Now, let me just remind folks, they're ranked number 7. This ranking is based on the totality of the grades that were given to each player over the totality of the season. A lot of people's last memory of the Kansas City Chiefs offensive line was them getting pummeled by the Buccaneers defensive line. Okay, try to block that out of your memory a little bit, and let me get into the Chiefs. Okay, all right, so here we go. So 2 big names that the Chiefs have been carrying for years and years and years are no longer there. Eric Fisher and Mitchell Schwartz were both top flight tackles. They both went down with injuries early last season. Now, they brought in Mike Remmers, who they signed away from the New York Giants in 2020 to play guard and tackle as a backup. So he was thrust into starting once the 2 bookend tackles went down. At this point, Remmers will probably settle in at right tackle. A trade with the Ravens brought in Orlando Brown. Orlando Brown is another top flight left tackle who excels in the run game. The left guard will be Joe Thuney. He came over from the Patriots, signed away in free agency this offseason. And the right guard will be Laurent Duvernay-Tardif, who comes back after opting out last season because of COVID, not because he was afraid of COVID, but because he's a doctor and he was in hospitals trying to help with the epidemic or the pandemic, and he was treating people. So he will now be back.
We talked about him, Ben, because they wouldn't let him put MD beside his name on the back of his jersey.
I know. I thought that was kind of corny. They let guys be the second, the third, and the fourth, the junior and the senior. They should let my man have his little MD down there.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
You know, I digress. Anyway, Austin Blythe comes in to play center after he was released by the Rams. He will compete with a rookie second-round pick. His name is Creed Humphrey. So they brought the guy in as a second-round pick. I'd say that could be a pretty good competition there. The Rams were willing to let Blythe go, so they didn't think that highly of him. And he did start for the Rams last season. So his job may be in jeopardy with a second-round pick coming in to compete with him, but we'll see. Always good to see good competitions in camp. So, you know, people usually look for, running back competitions, D-back competitions, receiver competitions. But these offensive and defensive line competitions can get pretty rough. So we'll see how that turns out.
All righty now. Let's see what we have here. Well, you know, when you look, Ben, at the EA Sports rankings, it's a little scary for a team rated this high. Remmers is coming in at 71. Now, you're the one that made sure everyone remembered that Remmers was known for getting beat in his previous experiences.
Yeah.
He gave up a big play, right?
This is the Remmers story. So I don't remember the specifics off the top of my head because my brain is full of offensive line stuff. But during the Super Bowl, somebody on the Tampa Bay defense remembered playing Remmers when he was with the Carolina Panthers. Who beat them in the Super Bowl? Who beat the Panthers in the Super Bowl?
Broncos, right?
Okay, so this player who is now on the Buccaneers was on the Broncos when Remmers was playing O-line, either guard or tackle, probably tackle, for the Carolina Panthers in the Super Bowl a few years ago. and he remembered the moves that Remmers was kind of a sucker for. Okay, so here we go years later. This guy, and I'm pretty sure he was a linebacker. I'm not going to guess names, but he told JPP and Shaq Barrett how to beat Remmers. So that was a big part of Mahomes running for 1,000 yards going backwards in the Super Bowl, because Remmers couldn't block a soul, because they
Wow,
knew how to beat him, specifically knew how to beat him.
that's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. He's rated 71, so that sounds appropriate in this situation, even though I have to give it to him. All three had decent awareness numbers, right around the mid 80. Thuney coming in at 91.
Yeah, he doesn't stink, and he's big enough and strong enough and versatile enough that he can play guard and tackle, left side and right side. So, I mean, it's great to have a player of that kind of versatility on your team. It's just in the Super Bowl, they had his number. That's all. He played well during the season. Nobody said a word about him during the season.
That's true. Now, when I'm looking here at this, I see Remmers, Kansas City, so he's from Kansas City. Orlando from the Ravens, and Joe Thuney from the Patriots.
Yes, they're just now coming in.
So you got a little bit of cohesion that needs to happen.
Yes, that is correct.
If they're going to be a really serious unit.
That is correct. I'll tell you the truth. I said this before, and I'm going to say it again. I don't know why they were so quick to get rid of Fisher and Schwartz. They were bookend tackles. They had been on the team. Yes, they both sustained injuries, but as far as I know, they've both found new homes.
Right away. It wasn't a long time. They weren't like,
right. They could have kept them.
Yeah.
For continuity's sake, but they said, you know what, we're going to let them go and we're going to bring in fresh bodies. So now they've got to rebuild that unit.
Wow. All right. We are at the what? Are we at the 5 yet?
Number 6.
Number 6. Okay, who we got?
Knocking on the door of the top 5 at number 6 is the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh my goodness. Are you scared, Ben?
No, I'm not.
A Giant fan.
Bro, why would I be scared? That we already know that their offense is formidable. We already know that with Dak Prescott back there, they can score points. We already know that Ezekiel Elliott is always going to be a top-ranked running back, has been, and probably will continue to be at least for the next couple of years. A lot of that is due to real good offensive line play. So I'm not surprised that they're up this high at all. Now, whether they stay there or not is something else, because left tackle Tyron Smith missed a lot of time last year with injuries. He needs to come back healthy for this team to really continue to do well offensively. His game has slipped some, but he should still be solid if he stays healthy. Right guard La'el Collins had a breakout season in 2019, but missed all of last season with a hip injury. Again, an outstanding run blocker, solid pass protector, but he's got to come back and be healthy. Zach Martin is a stud at right guard. Got nothing bad to say about Zach Martin. He's the man. Left guard, Connor Williams has improved each of his first 3 years and could get even better this year. Again, comes in as a rookie, plays well. Second year, plays better. Third year, plays better. Fourth year, if third year he only played better, fourth year could be his breakout. Again, that's the trend for offensive linemen. So look out for my man. What do we got left? Geez. Oh, their center. They had a great center, Travis Frederick. He retired. So that job is up for grabs. Joe Looney and Tyler Biadasz, I think is the pronunciation of his name. They will compete for the job at center.
Well,
Overall, solid unit. Big thing with Dallas, got to stay healthy.
well, yeah. I mean, you got to be there. You got to be there for Dak, man. Come on, you got to be there for Dak. Dak is nobody wants to see Dak get hit at all this year. Even the competition doesn't want to see Dak get hit. that was just a scary sight when it happened to him. Tyron Smith, EA Madden rankings has him at 91 overall. Days, I'm probably saying his name right. Tyler only ranked at 66, and Connor Williams at 72. So these are some pretty. Well, you have one really good ranking, and you got two kind of real questionable ranking for a team that's ranked number 6. So when I'm looking here at their awareness, I see a 92, a 82, and a 78. So again, nothing super.
Yeah, but you didn't look at Lael Collins. Lael Collins is a stud.
That's who we
Lael,
got to look at there.
Lael Collins makes everybody better on that team.
Okay, okay, okay. Leo Collins is the person to look out for
Yes.
on the Dallas Cowboys. Now, is his strength running? Because if they don't start running
Yes.
the ball soon, uh,
Yes.
it's
He's
going to be
he's
a problem.
he's great at run blocking and very solid in pass blocking. He's the real deal.
Um, I saw a picture of Zeke. Zeke looked like he was even working a little bit.
Hey, he got his Ohio State six-pack back. Big deal.
No respect at
I
all.
respect Zeke. I respect Zeke. You know, I mean, I didn't get thrilled when they were showing off Saquon's quads with his little shorts on. Oh my God, they look like tree trunks. Oh my God. Bruh, run the ball, be elusive, break tackles, score touchdowns. I don't care if you're running on sticks.
I can dig it. I can dig it. All right. Who's up next?
Up next, top 5. Now we're talking.
Now we're talking.
Let me remind everybody, these rankings come from Pro Football Focus. They do not come from Ben. I agree with a lot of them. I disagree with some of them. So just keep that in mind, okay? Number 5, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Super
Tampa
Bowl
Bay.
champion, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. First off, I'm going to tell you something you already know. The Bucs return all 5 starters from last season Super Bowl team. Right tackle Tristan Wirfs stepped right in as a rookie and had a tremendous rookie season. Blocks well in the run game and in the pass game. He's a really big dude with quick feet. Left tackle Donovan Smith has improved his overall grade for 6 straight seasons, okay? This guy's coming into his 7th year. Pro Football Focus has been grading him every year of his career, and every year his grade has gone up. Left guard Ali Marpet has gotten better every year as well. And right guard Alex Kappa, along with center Ryan Jensen, are both solid, above average players at their positions. Solid group, experienced group, good against, keep saying against like I'm talking about defense. Good in run blocking, good in pass protection, and gel, solidified, a unit. Very important.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's it right there. So offensive line. I have here for the Madden ratings. Let's see who we got. Oh man, last week we showed the picture of Tristan Wirfs next to Gronk.
Oh yeah, so you can see the size of that guy. He's huge.
Gronk looked like his little brother. It really did, especially in the thickness. It was the thickness, I think, that just really stood out between the two. And Gronk's the one posted the picture, so no disrespect to him at all. rated at 89. Donovan Smith at 73 and Ryan Jensen, center at 89 also. Looking at the awareness number, 95, 90, and 97. Now, see, that's how you have a top flight line right there when you got awareness ratings like that.
Right.
Gee,
And remember, even though Donovan Smith's overall number is what, 73?
73.
He's on the upswing. The guy gets better year after year after year.
Okay. All right.
So you can't, it's hard. If whether you're forced to start a guy that you wish maybe you had somebody who was a little bit better, and then the guy kind of works out for you, and you say, you know what, I'm gonna think we'll stick with him. And then the next year he plays better, and you go, you know what? Play better. Let's stick with him. And then the next year he plays better. Pretty soon you realize, yo, this guy's a mainstay. I got to keep him. That's Donovan Smith. So that's what they're working with.
Well, I will say this much about Madden. Generally they'll if they improve in their traits, it'll show. It'll show. So we'll look for his numbers to increase and track his Pro Football Focus rankings also. All right, who we got next?
Up next, number 4. Might possibly be a surprise for some folks. The New Orleans Saints. Now, New Orleans Saints at left tackle have Teron Armstead. Everybody's heard that name. At right tackle, they have Ryan Ramczyk. Everybody's heard that name. These two guys are arguably the best tackle tandem in the league. Both of them are excellent run blockers and very good pass protectors. Right guard, Cesar Ruiz, struggled a little bit in pass protection his rookie season, but again, it was his rookie season, and he's expected to improve coming into his second year and will probably have a breakout year in his third year. Left guard, Andrus Peat, took a little step back in 2019, but showed a lot of improvement last season. So this is a guy who had a little tough 2019, but last season, he improved his game. That's a good thing. Center, Eric McCoy, has played fairly well in the first 2 years of his career, and he looks to be very dependable center in the years to come. Again, offensive linemen, regardless of position, once they get to their third or fourth season, that's where we expect a breakout. That's where some of these guys are looking like they're headed.
So we're talking about the Saints with a top 5 line. And a question at quarterback. But at the very least, no matter which quarterback they go to, they should be in pretty good shape there,
I don't think I tell you what. I've been watching, we watch television and we watch all the sports talk shows and what have you. There's a lot going on in the NFL with your Aaron Rodgers situation and Deshaun Watson and this and that, now Richard Sherman and blah, blah, blah. So I don't think as much time has been spent on the Saints quarterback situation as it normally would. But it's going to come to the forefront sooner or later. I'm hoping that once training camp starts, Jameis just takes this thing over. Number one, because he deserves it. Number two, this is me talking. Number two, because I think he has all the skills to handle whatever it is that the head coaches and the offensive coordinators in New Orleans need from him. Number three, and somebody scoffed when just this morning I was watching the show. I think it was First Things First. And somebody laughed when somebody said that they felt like Jameis Winston would excel in the Saints offense and do things that Drew Brees wasn't able to do at the end of his career. The guy almost fell out of his chair. But you know what? I agree.
You agree.
I agree.
Why do you agree? What things couldn't Drew do?
Complete the long ball. You yourself questioned Drew Brees' arm last year. Last 2 years.
You got mad at me one time. You was about to smack me upside my head.
I like Drew Brees. I was a Drew Brees fan, but guess what? He was he only thing that he didn't do that Peyton Manning did was win one more Super Bowl at the end of his career.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes these guys just fall off, and his long ball fell off. I'm not saying he couldn't throw it, but if they needed long balls to get back in the game, Drew couldn't deliver.
Yeah, they were bringing in Jameis. At one point, they brought in Jameis.
You should never have to do that. Jameis Winston has the arm to complete any throw. All he needs is guidance and good play calling. I think he's going to excel this year. I really do. I could be wrong, but I'm rooting for him.
Well, you attributed some of his issues with turnovers to being in the no risk it, no biscuit offense.
That is correct. And I've heard it several times over the last 2 weeks on different shows. People agree with me. The worst thing that could have happened to him was Bruce Arians. And the best thing that could have happened to Bruce Arians was Tom Brady.
Tom Brady, right? Because he sort of cooled him out on that. But now Jameis is in a situation where he's going to learn the intricacies of that short to mid-range passing game.
Right. And still have the long game in his pocket if he needs
Still got it. Yeah, when they want to pull it out. And they can, and Michael Thomas, I think, has been questioned as far as his ability to go deep. He's been running so many short patterns for Brees all these years. People want to see whether he can do that. So
it's going to be very, very interesting.
Intriguing.
Very interesting. As the number one guy, he's going to have to diversify his route tree.
No doubt. No doubt. Okay. Cesar Ruiz ranked at 73. Eric McCoy ranked at 83. And Teron Armstead at 94. Okay, not great, but awareness 83, 93, and 92. So you have the smarts that you need to compete, and I think that, like you said, it's going to be interesting in that division to see. And again, remember last year, and I said this, and I wasn't trying to be mean, but I said I wonder if Jameson, when he looked at the Super Bowl last year, thought at all to himself, "Wow, that was the team that I was on. That was my squad." That 1 year later they went to Super Bowl. Man,
I'm sure he did.
That had to play with your head a little bit, I would think.
I'm sure he did, but he didn't have the cachet to say we shouldn't be playing bombs away with this offense. We need to be a little bit more conservative, and we need to run the ball more, and I need to throw underneath and intermediate stuff. He didn't have the cachet to say that. Tom Brady did. If Tom Brady don't reel that goofy coach in, they don't win the Super Bowl. They were losing games. They were mid-season. Check out their record. They were losing.
Yeah. I remember.
They lost like 5 or 6 games, didn't they?
Yeah.
I forget what their record was.
Tom Brady even mentioned it in the trip to the White House. How they, people were questioning them. You know what I mean? We'll talk about that on the a little later in the show. Let me remind people, this is Ben and Barry on football. You can find us at www.benandbarryonfootball.com. We are on YouTube. We are on podcasts with Anchor, Spotify, and Apple, as well as across the social media universe. But again, www.benandbarryonfootball.com. All right. Who do we have next, Mr. Dickerson?
Up next.
What number is this? Number 3?
Number 3.
We're talking the top 3.
Top 3
lines in the NFL.
And you're not going to believe, excuse me, I got to put this away.
Yeah.
You would not believe who's at number 3. The New England Patriots.
All Really?
Right. So you look back at the Patriots last season and the whole thing with Cam Newton and no real good receivers, and then Edelman gets hurt and Sony Michel can't run anymore, and it was just a mess. Injuries on the defense, guys opting out. It was crazy. But when you look at the grades, when Pro Football Focus looked at the grades, the offensive line graded out as the number 3 unit. Now, their left tackle is Isaiah Wynn. He had a good rookie season and took a big step for last year in his second season. Again, they brought in a guy, started him as a rookie. He played well right off the bat. He played better in his second season, or they're expecting him to play better in his second season. Come third season, that may be his breakout. Okay? So expecting a lot from Isaiah Wynn, playing a big position at left tackle. The big surprise in 2020 was a rookie 6th rounder. Please remember this name, and I hope I'm saying it right because I did not know this. This kid, his name is Michael Onwenu. 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 He came in as a 6th round draft pick last season. Rotated back and forth between right guard and right tackle and was excellent at both positions. Excellent. Graded extremely high by Pro Football Focus for all the snaps that he had at both positions. The guy's a keeper. They're going to hold on to him. What's going to happen is he's going to settle in at left guard now that the Patriots have Trent Brown back from a 2-year stint with the Raiders. So let's remember this. Patriots drafted Trent Brown. He played 1 season. I can't remember if they traded him or released him, but he went to I think they traded him. He went to the Raiders, played the last 2 seasons, 19 and 20 with the Raiders, and then they got him back in a trade, okay? Played well for the Raiders. They traded back to get him back. Now he's back with the Patriots. Right guard Shaq Mason is a powerful run blocker, stud run blocker. Only a little bit above average in pass blocking, but that's okay. They run the ball over the right side. He's their guy. David Andrews is a middle of the pack center. He's looking for a bounce back season. Didn't play that great last year, but he was adequate. Like I said, when we were looking at Pro Football Focus grades and rankings for other units, sometimes if you have 1 or 2 really, really superior athletes at their position, they can raise the grade for the overall group. I think that's what's happening in this case for the Patriots. They have a couple of guys that are kind of okay, and then they got 2 guys that are like really, really good. So that seems to be the situation there. We'll see what happens.
Well, yeah, I mean, you got solid 80s across the board on EA Madden. 81 for Isaiah Wynn, 87 Trent Brown, and David Andrews at 85. All of them have great, really good awareness levels. Of course, Trent Brown at 95 is at the top. Andrews is 93, and Isaiah Wynn is 88. So you've got the makings of a decent line. So again,
I don't know how they let Trent Brown get away after 1 doggone season. I'm going to have to research that and see what the heck happened there. They drafted him. I believe he started right away. They let him get away to the Raiders. He plays for the Raiders for 2 years and plays really well. And then they're like, oh my God, we got to get him back. And they make a trade and they get him back. It's weird.
At least they got him back. I mean,
Oh, yeah, it's a good thing for them. But
Yeah.
now I'm thinking, why would the Raiders let him go? But why did the Patriots let him go in the first place? I'm going to have to do some reading up on Trent Brown.
Well, the Patriots were in a different mindset 2 or 3 years ago, they weren't spending a whole bunch of money. But this past year, the pockets was open, man. The purse strings got loose.
Yeah, well, that's
They're like, oh, wait a minute, hold up. No, no, no. Brady just doesn't go down there and win a Super Bowl. We're coming back strong. And man, with the number, what, 2?
3.
The number 3 line?
That's what they're saying. Of course, everything is contingent on everybody staying healthy. That's the one thing that goes for everybody from 1 to 32.
Oh yeah, that's
Guys can only reach their full potential or move up in the rankings or hold their high spot if they got a high spot if they stay healthy.
that's absolutely
That health is the difference between the Patriots being 3 or 7 and the Cowboys being 6 or 2. Okay, that's health is it's all about health.
I'm with you. I'm with you. Okay. So we're down to the top 2, eh?
Speaking of 2, and this one comes as no surprise to me, although if I had my druthers, I'd druther Tampa Bay be 2, but I would only move this team down to 3. That's how good I think they are. That's the Indianapolis Colts. So for Pro Football Focus, the Indianapolis Colts are holding the number 2 spot. Now, they have replaced retired left tackle Anthony Costanzo with former Kansas City Chief Eric Fisher. Remember Eric Fisher? The guy I said if I was Kansas City, I would have kept.
Would have kept him.
They let him go. They let him and Schwartz go. He's now with the Colts. He's coming off an Achilles tear, but he's expected to come back healthy and be a solid starter right off the bat when he's healthy. Right tackle is Braden Smith. He's ranked in the top half of all starting right tackles. Left guard Quentin Nelson is considered by most to be the best offensive lineman overall in the league, hands down. Okay? That's all the tackles, all the guards, all the centers. You lump them all together and say, who is the best offensive lineman at this bunch? Most people will tell you it's Quentin Nelson. He's the left guard for the Colts. He's the total package. He grades equally high in the run game and in the pass protection. And right guard and the right guard's Mark Glowinski and the center is Ryan Kelly. They're both dependable at their positions. No slouches there at all. This is a good, solid unit. The only newcomer I think really is Fisher. Other than that, everybody else has been there. This is going to be a tough unit. This is going to be a tough offensive line. Lucky Carson Wentz.
Yeah, lucky Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz, man, I mean, so many people are just looking at him like, dude, you got to come out of this looking better than what you did last year. You know what I mean? You got to. There's no way in the world anybody's going to accept anything from you with, the tools that you have to work with this year. So this will be interesting to see. I'm actually intrigued because we know, excuse me, how talented he was in terms of his athleticism and things. And then we saw him go through this, crazy bad play last year, and then go to a coach who everybody says that, that's the coach he was successful with. Him and that coach, they're simpatico. And so we expect a much higher level of play. With that line in front of him, the excuses are that much less. You know what I mean? People look at him and say, you got the number 2 line, So pressure shouldn't be as much of an issue. And you got a run game,
Yeah.
And you got a run game, man.
Actually, they have a tremendous run game. I'm kind of mad that we kind of already did running backs because I want to revisit running backs. You look at their room. Naeem Hines, Wilkins, Marlon Mack, who was injured all last season and was supposed to be the starter, and Jonathan Taylor. Are you kidding me? That's crazy.
Hey, look, that's a running back room that rivals my Niners for sure,
Yeah,
if not better.
yeah,
If not
yeah.
better. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So as I'm
that's
looking at the Niners, I mean, excuse me, at the Colts here on their Madden ratings, we have Eric Fisher coming in at 75. Now that's kind of low. That could, I wonder if that has anything to do with Chiefs letting him go here. His awareness is 85. It could be a little better. I'm seeing Anthony Constanzo at 80 and Quentin Nelson at 95. That left guard is, man,
yeah. Quentin Nelson's a beast.
he's a beast, man. His strength is 97. So we're talking again, relative to everybody in the league, you would say he's stronger than 97% of everybody in the league.
That's crazy.
You know,
That's crazy.
his
That's why he's being
awareness is
called.
99.
Yeah, that's why he's being called overall the best offensive lineman in the league right now.
Wow. Wow. Again, Mr. Wentz, you have the best offensive lineman in the league blocking for you up front. Wow, Benny, that's an amazing thing. We're about to do number one. Now, let me again remind our audience on the radio. We'll be finishing up with the radio show and prepping you for Nina on the radio as she comes on with some R&B soul music. Um, but we invite you to visit our YouTube channel and to visit again our podcast, all of which you can find at www.benandbarryonfootball.com. We will have an extended version of the show, some additional things there for you that you can sit back and listen to, take some notes, and amaze your friends with the information that you'll get from Ben and Barry on football. Right now, we are at numero uno. Go for it, Benny.
Numero uno, number one, we're talking about, yep, the Cleveland Browns, the team that was a laughing stock just about, what, 4 years ago? A laughing stock, a total failure, a joke, the bottom barrel of the NFL. This team has the number one ranked offensive line. In fact, other than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Cleveland Browns are the only other team that brings back all 5 starters. So let's just start right there.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, yes. Pro Football Focus has them ranked as the number one overall offensive line, the number one offensive line in pass blocking, and the number 2 offensive line in run blocking. Hence, number 1 overall.
Wow.
1 in pass blocking, 2 in run blocking. The right tackle is Jack Conklin. He graded very high in both the run game and pass protection. Left tackle, Jarek Wills. By the way, just going into his second year, was decent in pass protection last season, but has a little bit of work to do in the run game. But again, just coming into his second year. So he's only going to get better. Left guard, Joel Bitonio. Woo, man, played extremely well in both phases of the blocking game, pass blocking and run blocking. Just a solid player. Right guard, Wyatt Teller was outstanding in the run game. Struggled a little bit in pass protection near the end of the season. But during the season, he was solid. So he had a little fall off near the end of the season. Sometimes, offensive linemen, I just want to make this point. Offensive linemen play with injuries a lot more than skill players do. So sometimes you may see a guy fall off during the season, like, wow, he seemed like he was pass blocking really well the first 6 games of the season, and now he seems to be having trouble with his drop step or his kick step, or he seems to be having trouble with bull rushers, or he seems to be having trouble with speed rushers. A lot of times these guys are playing with bulky knees, bad ankles. They got 2 tons of tape on them. They took 2 pain-killing shots. You know what I mean? So when I see something like that happen where a guy looks really solid during the season and then near the end of the season in the playoffs, he seems to fall off like he looks like a different player, I usually attribute it to something like that. Other than that, Center J.C. Treader has posted career high grades and finished as the #2 ranked center in the entire league last season.
#2
Okay?
center in the
The
entire
number
league.
2 center in the entire league last season. You barely hear the guy's name because he's a center, J.C. Treader. But I bet you the people in Cleveland know him. Okay? The Cleveland Browns are going to be a problem. Right? If I had to pick another team that I really like to watch other than my team and other than the Buffalo Bills, it would be the Cleveland Browns, because I'm still going like this. This is Cleveland? You know what I mean? Like, we were just laughing at them a few years ago. We were just saying, this is not going to work. This is ridiculous. Baker Mayfield is a bum. They got no receiver. Beckham, the people were trashing Beckham. Watch him have a bounce back season this year, by the way. Cleveland's going to be a problem.
If they find out how to incorporate Beckham, not to the detriment of the other receivers, yeah, they're going to be dangerous.
I think they've learned their lesson by not having him.
We'll see. Let
me put it this way. I think the coaches have learned their lesson. I think the offensive coordinator has learned his lesson. Now, whether Baker Mayfield learned his lesson or not, because, you know, players can be susceptible to other players sometimes. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll see.
What about Beckham? He has to learn his lesson too. He can't be going to the sideline having conniptions if he's not getting the ball.
I think those days are over.
Really?
I think his being out and watching them play well without him has humbled him a little bit.
All right. All right.
So we'll see. It'll be interesting. I can't wait. I can't wait.
Madden ratings on the Browns line. We have Jedrick Wills Jr. at 80, your J.C. Treader at 85, and Joel Bitonio at 88, left guard. So that left side is pretty strong. Again, when we're looking at awareness, we have a 93 for Treader, 88 for Wills, and a 91 for Bitonio. So you got some brawn and brains working for you in Cleveland. You got a dual threat in the backfield at running back. You have a maturing Baker Mayfield. You got a load of receiver talent.
And all 5 starters are back from last season, which was a very good season.
Wow, wow, wow. There you go. There you go. Well, ladies and germs, Ben and Barry on football has done it again. All 32 offensive lines in the NFL. We did the bottom half last week. This week we did the top half, finishing with #1. The Cleveland Browns, who would have thunk it? But it is what it is. And okay, wait a minute. You got the Steelers, the Ravens, the Browns,
and the Bengals.
And the Bengals.
Right.
In that division.
Right. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
It's gonna be
it's gonna be very interesting.
If the Browns go beat up, if the Browns go beat up on the Steelers, are we gonna see we gonna see what's the name at quarterback?
No.
Say his name.
Get ahead of ourselves. They're gonna let Ben Roethlisberger go out with dignity. The only way we see Dwayne Haskins is if Ben gets hurt.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, I mean, really beat up.
Yeah, that's the only way we're going to see Haskins. Because believe me, after his debacle in Washington, if they're smart, they will bring him along slowly and make sure that he learns their system properly and in totality. Because once Ben is gone, it's his show. And there's certain teams that are not into rebuilding. The Pittsburgh Steelers is one of them. They don't rebuild, they reload. So they're going to try to keep him off the field as long as they can until they're comfortable with how comfortable he is with their offensive scheme.
Okay.
And plus, Big Ben deserves every opportunity to go out. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. I mean, let's face it. That's Ben's going to be there until he cannot be there.
Yeah, I mean, he's a Hall of Famer, man.
So there you
Even
go.
if some people think it's by default, he's still a Hall of Famer.
Well, again, what's my criteria? Won a Super Bowl. Yeah.
He won two.
And he won too. Right, exactly. So there's no doubt in my mind there. All right, for our radio audience, we're signing off. Remember to hang around for Nina on the radio and some R&B soul for the grown and sexy. Okay, Benny, let's go to social media for the extended portion of the show. I'm going to just share our page and we're going to kind of do a rapid 2-minute drill type thing as we go through and just put some comments out there on some of the things that are popping up here. So, all right, let's get started. First things first, we got to start with my Niners. Again, Richard Sherman is, he's just, everyone looks up to him. So to see him go through this type of problem is absolutely amazing. What was even more amazing, if you go back to our Facebook page, is the way that the 911 person handled the call to 911. I mean, I have it right here. It's a separate post from the original post about him, but it was disturbing. I mean, the disrespect, they just played her off. It was crazy, and she's calling him, and he's banging on the door. He's going berserk, So that was one thing that came up. The other thing that came up here is that, first of all of his charges were reduced to misdemeanors. All right. So that shows you got good attorneys right there. So that was it. The other thing was he put out a video where he apologized for his behavior. Right. But then they pled not guilty on all of the charges, which to me was a little weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't get that.
I didn't get that one at all, man.
I mean, if you apologize for doing it, that means you acknowledge that you did it.
That's what it would seem.
Well, it depends on what exactly what he did and what they charge him with is kind of two different things. So if he feels like they're charging me for this, but I did this and this and this, which I don't think warrants that charge. You know what I mean? Like it's tricky, but I just hope he comes out of it okay. The 911 thing, that was wacky, yo. That was crazy. I hope like hell, because of all the social media stuff that's been done about that call, that person is severely reprimanded. I mean, I hate to see anybody lose their job, but that was ridiculous. There was really no need for her to handle that call in the way that she did. It was extremely unprofessional. It was argumentative. I'm sure these people are supposed to go through some kind of training because they know that most of the calls they get, the people are going to be traumatized or extremely emotional. They're going to say things that they may or may not really mean. They're going to ramble. You have to be able to handle something like that. His wife or ex-wife or whatever she is was not extremely hysterical to me. She was trying to make points that she felt were necessary for this dispatcher to know before the police were sent. That's the way I heard it. And to really break it down, I heard a black woman calling and asking for the police to come, but wanting to let them know ahead of time that this black man that you're coming to see is intoxicated. He has no weapons. He's argumentative, but he's not dangerous. He's only a danger to himself. He has not physically harmed anybody. She was trying to lay all this down. Why? Because of the world we live in now. And that dispatcher didn't want to hear it. Give me the address, and we're going to send somebody out. And if she hadn't said all those things, who's to say they wouldn't roll up and pop you? Who's to say? She was trying to guard against that, and I commend her for that.
I hadn't looked at it that way, but that is an interesting perspective, and I'm sure that's something that will.
That's why she kept interrupting her and saying, "No, I don't want to hear that. Tell me this, tell me this, tell me that." She's like, no. He has no weapon. He's intoxicated. He is attempting to fight my uncle. That means he's not being successful because he's too damn drunk. You know what I'm saying? He ain't hurting nobody. He's only a danger to himself. He's threatened to kill himself. That she was like, and the dispatcher didn't want to hear that. I need to know who he is, what he looked like, and where's the address. That's all she wanted to know. And that's how people get killed.
What I wonder here was how much the situation that he's in with free agency now is he's feeling any pressure with that. I mean, he's been around a long time. You know, money shouldn't be so much of an issue, but it looks like him and the rest of the free agents, there are only about 9 of them. I think Taylor Moton was the only one when when the period came up for the franchise tags to go ahead and sign for a long-term contract. He was the only one that was signed. Everybody else, as far as franchise tags were concerned, they were left there, but there's still a number of free agents. I guess they're waiting for what, preseason, the season, somebody to get injured, and then they'll start bringing those guys off.
Yeah, that could happen.
That's about usually what happens.
Yeah.
Well, the next thing I want to mention is that, let's see if I can get this real quick. Now, I guess I really shouldn't make fun, but this was kind of funny. Dwayne Haskins' wife arrested. She knocked his tooth out.
I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because you said, I'm sorry. I'm laughing because you said this is kind of funny. And then her face popped up. I'm like, yo, first of all, when I saw it, and I saw the picture first, I'm like, oh, Dwayne Haskins done beat up his wife. Then I'm like, wait, she knocked his tooth out? Are you serious? She attacked him? Was it unprovoked? I didn't read the story. Educate me, please.
And Ben, I couldn't stop laughing. I couldn't read the whole story either. But you know who it reminded me of?
Who's that?
The quarterback with the Jets who hit the other guy who supposedly owed him some money or something like that. He had paid for some tickets. The backup quarterback for the Seahawks.
Huh?
The brother who was a backup quarterback for the Seahawks got into a fight. He was the starting quarterback for the Jets, and then he hit the guy and he broke the guy's jaw or something like that over some ticket money.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about.
That's what it reminded me. It's just too ridiculous. You know what I mean?
Ridiculous. You're right. Absolutely.
It's just too ridiculous. All right. And this is the guy who's going to take over for Roethlisberger. Much less. You know? I can see him now playing signal sounding like Mike Tyson.
It's going to take him a minute to live that one down.
Oh, man. All right. Ben, have you ever heard of 8-man football?
High school, yeah.
No, I'm talking like beyond high school. Yeah, they have it in high school, but I'm talking beyond high school. Let me stop that here. So, this article is about a gentleman who was, I think he was a third round uh, draftee, Spencer Brown. Spencer Brown was an was playing 8-man football, apparently up in places like Des Moines, Iowa, and Omaha, Nebraska.
We're talking about 8-man tackle football
Tackle.
with
Yes. Pardon me?
with equipment.
With equipment.
Okay, because you have to specify, because there's 8-man flag football and there's 7-man football, tackle football without equipment. There is such a league.
Okay. Well, this is with equipment. This is as close to tackle as you're going to get
Okay.
with 8-man. I'm going to share a little bit of this article. Apparently, Spencer Brown, this coach Farley, had been told about him. This guy's like 6'6", and the coach decided to sort of make a detour, go visit this 8-man football standout, and he gets there and he offers the guy a scholarship to Northern Iowa right off the bat.
Okay.
I was like, "You mean a real scholarship?" So he gets a scholarship. He goes to college. I guess he plays pretty well. Now, according to this article, Tariq Cohen and Leighton Vander Esch also, as they say, form a small but impressive fraternity of current NFL players who played 8-man football in high school.
Yes.
The condensed version of 11-man is generally a product of small towns not known
Yes.
for producing players.
Yes.
But this gentleman wound up 6'5", 6'6" kid, wound up getting drafted, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was by the Buffalo Bills. So I didn't know if you had ever heard of 8-man football. I was not aware of it at all, and I thought if anybody had, you had.
Only in high school.
Yeah, so they're playing it a little bit beyond high school now, but long story short,
Where?
huh?
Where?
Places like Des Moines, Iowa.
No, it's high school.
No, he was playing beyond high school. I'm pretty sure. Well, no, you're right, because he was in high school when they went
Northern
to see him.
Iowa,
And
the
he got a college.
university in Des Moines.
Well, okay, so let me straighten it out. High school, maybe not beyond high school, but 8-man football nonetheless. Wow, wow, that is amazing. I was not familiar with that at all.
Yeah, basically, it's small schools with very small enrollment. So they only have X number of boys, not enough to put together a full 22-man roster or even an 18-man roster, where some guys play both ways. So they came up with this version of tackle football where they only use 8 men per team. And yeah, it's legit. And the leagues are tough from what I've heard. It's mostly in the Midwest, Middle America, Iowa, what other, Missouri, maybe Northern Texas, Oklahoma, places like that. I saw a story about it on ESPN. Maybe it was a 30 for 30 or something. It's a good game. It's a very exciting game. It's crazy. It's real tackle football. It's just 16 guys on the field instead of 22.
I think in his case, he was actually playing end because I think they're missing their tackles or something like that.
Yeah, right. There's certain positions that you just don't fill.
But he converted over to the offensive line and he loved it.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's just one of a great story. All right, another quick story, and then we have one more that's a surprise for the night to show you. Did you get a chance to see the Buccaneers go to the White House?
I saw some clips of it, yes.
Brady was hilarious.
He was okay.
I thought he was hilarious. He had good well, let me put it this way. You know, he didn't have you rolling out your seat hilarious.
They were good jokes. They were
They were
good
pretty
jokes.
good jokes.
They were
And
pretty
he
good
was
jokes.
obviously pro Biden, which
Yeah, considering he got caught with a Make America Great hat in his locker last season. You know, uh, I, the jokes fit. It's funny. The jokes that he told actually fit, and Biden could relate, which is, I'm sure that's what Brady was going for. So, hey, it worked. It worked. I don't know.
I'm not sure, but I thought it was pretty good. And, so I enjoyed it. And it was good that we're back to not being in such contention that the champion can go to the
I
White House.
know, because that's the doggone tradition.
That's the tradition.
And when you win a chip and you get invited, you should feel good about going. And you should get your invitation, and the person inviting you should feel good about it, and it should be all good. I love it.
The Eagles were uninvited.
Yeah, that's a shame. They were uninvited. The women's soccer team was uninvited. It was a mess. But let's not get political.
Yeah, we don't have to go far into that. I do want to mention real quick, I saw this article, and I'm not going to delve too deeply in it. We just finished doing the offensive lines. But according to this article, the Jaguars' offensive line and linebacker group is the most expensive in the NFL.
Wow, expensive is it?
Expensive. We're talking the money now. Yeah.
Well, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. You got to spend money. Let's face it. The Jacksonville Jaguars need to improve. And if they're going to improve, they're going to have to spend money. You can do things a couple different ways, or a combination of a couple different ways. You can go young and try to rebuild your team through the draft, or you can sign free agents and try to do it a little bit quicker, or you can do a little bit of both. But it's going to cost you some money, So, yeah, if I'm the Jags, I'm doing the same thing. Look, offensive line, they were ranked number 22. I'm looking back now. They were ranked number 22.
22 with the most expensive line.
That's not terrible.
That ain't great.
And Pro Football Focus said they have very good potential to move up in the rankings this season. So they're looking at them as an upper-comer already before the season has even started. And, excuse me.
And
I was incorrect. There was a third team to bring back all 5 starters. Jacksonville Jaguars brought back all 5 starters. Wow. Somebody got paid.
Hey, look, before they performed also. Well, this isn't one of those, hey, you've been great for the last 3 years, we're going to give you a great contract. This is like, you're going to be great in the next few years.
Right.
Give you a great contract.
Based on what we've seen already. They franchise tagged their left tackle.
Okay.
Remember, we talked about that.
Well, that puts you up in the top.
Offensive linemen don't get tagged.
That puts you up in the top of the spending spree right there.
You go right there. That's crazy. Wow, that's big.
So again, Ben and Barry on football. Go to our Facebook page. A lot of the topics that we discuss are right there on the Facebook page. We love to have your comments, any questions or whatever, and we'll put them on here. Ben, we talked about this next subject, and I said it was only going to be a couple more. So this, I think, is the next to last one. So apparently, Bryce Young of Alabama, who has not started a game yet, with the change in the ability for the players to make money off their likeness, has already signed $1 million in endorsements. And he's not even been named the starter yet. He's a sophomore.
Oh, my God. So I'm going to assume, I shouldn't assume anything, but I'm going to assume that he went to high school in Alabama. So the people that root for the University of Alabama already know him. He's only a sophomore and he hasn't played a down yet. So he's really living off of just being the quarterback of the University of Alabama, which is a big deal.
Well, Saban said that. He said it's like the guy hasn't even played yet. He said, but that's because of our brand.
Exactly.
The
And that's what
Alabama name.
he's making his money off of their brand.
That likeness is already worth $1 million. And he has.
And I'm sure he's hoping that if he comes in and he plays well, that he can then strengthen his own brand. But he's off to a great start just being where he is.
I have a disturbing question. How will this impact HBCUs? If a kid knows that they can go to a highly branded college and on his own likeness potentially make millions, as opposed to let's going to, well, we'll say Jackson State where Deion is, that's going to be a brand to some degree. But if you're talking about what, name it, you got Alabama, Clemson, any of those large schools, and it gets to be not just about, the football or the scholarship. I don't need your stinking scholarship. I can get $1 million in endorsements and pay for my own school with plenty of money left over. We just got to the point where HBCUs were beginning to look attractive. You've got ex-NFL players, all pros, Pro Bowlers, Hall of Famers that are going to coach in the HBCUs. Now they're going to have to compete on a brand basis.
So before this image and likeness thing really got approved, I believe that the chances for HBCUs to get 3 and 4 star athletes out of high school was probably a little bit greater than it's been in the past, when in the past it was basically, I don't want to say non-existent, but extremely low. I think this is a day and age where high school seniors are, and because of social media, are more aware of what's going on in the world, and going to an HBCU would mean something to them. So I think Deion said he had some success with some 3-star guys and was hoping to have some success with some 4-star guys. But you understand, if a guy is a 4-star or a 5-star athlete coming out of high school, chances are he's not going to go to a HBCU. He's so highly recruited by major colleges and major conferences that he can't even sift his way through to go to Howard or Jackson State.
Even with a Deion? Even with a Deion there? Because I think they just picked up a top recruit.
No, it's going to happen. And Deion predicted that it would happen. But if he recruits 20 2-star dudes and 1 4-star dude, and 3 3-stars, that's a success for him.
Okay.
Okay. So the majority of 4-star and 5-star athletes are not, unless they're extremely socially aware and want to make a statement, or perhaps their parent went to an HBCU, which would draw them. I think you'll probably see it more in basketball than you will in football right away.
Interesting point you make about the parents, because again, I went to Florida A&M, my freshman, I was a freshman there, and I didn't finish there, but just being there, I met people from all over the United States and many of them were at Florida A&M because their mother, father, grandparents, or somebody
Yep.
went there,
Yep.
and that's why they were there. So
Yep.
it's a valid point that you make. I actually experienced that. All right. Okay, Benny, I said I had a surprise for you. And I'm going to play a video, let you take a look at it, and then we're going to talk about this, Ben. This is the Women's Football Alliance. I believe I'm getting that correct. I'll straighten that out for a second. But this is a Women's Football League. And these women are going to play their championship game this weekend at the NFL Hall of Fame field. And so let's start this video real quick. We'll show you the video, and here we go. So this is the kickoff. Team in the blacks kicking off to the team in the white. Team in the white takes the kickoff, head to the right sideline, makes one person miss, makes another person miss, gets out in front of the field, breaks through a group on the sideline and breaks out that sideline down to the 20, to the 10, gets to the goal line. And Ben, did you see the ending there?
Yeah, it was Marshawn Lynch. That's patented. That's a patented Marshawn Lynch touchdown dive. That video was horrible, though.
She did Marshawn Lynch, the beast mode landing. It was absolutely hilarious. Now, let me tell you or share with you who that was. Who you just saw running that ball there was a young lady named Jasmine Plummer. Does that name ring any bells to you?
No, it does not.
I'll read the narrative as I put it down on our page at Ben and Barry on Football. Born in 1993, she was an American who was the first ever female quarterback for a Pop Warner football team.
Oh, okay.
Right? After 5 years in Pop Warner, she quit football because the boys got too big. She's only 5'3", 115. She ran track and played point guard at Joliet West High School. She became the subject of the movie The Long Shot, where she was played by Keke Palmer.
I remember that movie.
Ice Cube played her uncle.
Yes, I remember that movie.
Well, that's who ran that touchdown back. Okay. All through, as a little leaguer, she was a quarterback. But now she's actually an airman first class in the I guess that's the Air Force, and plays running back for the Nevada Storm football. She is the most valuable player for the American Conference of the Women's Football Alliance, which they claim is the largest and most competitive women tackle football in the world, with over 60 teams nationwide and Canada.
Interesting.
Jasmine Plummer. Great article that I found on her in this write-up from the United States Air Force, where they actually talk a little bit about her, and they give some great information about her that, you know, goes a little more into detail. Won't go into that here, but I will say this much. I reached out to her on Facebook, sent her a friend request. She accepted.
Cool.
We're now Facebook friends, and she thanked us for the posting. I wished her, you know, the best of luck in the championship games that they're going to be up against. But wait, Ben, how do we do matchups? It's called the Bias Plus Reports. Now,
okay.
We haven't done any of our normal ranking things, the Sterling Net Point Power rankings, because we're not in season, but they are, okay? So in reading the article, what I found out was that the Nevada Storm, which that's who Ms. Plummer plays for, their offensive points per game, 39.7.
Okay.
Their defensive points per game, 6.9.
Okay.
They're going to play the dark, huh?
Who are they playing?
Other teams in the league.
I mean, so what? They got a championship game coming up, or the
They got a
playoffs?
championship game coming up. They're playing the Dark Angels,
Okay.
right? So wait, the Dark Angels are scoring 36.1 points per game
Oh, geez.
and giving up 7.7.
Oh my God. Yo, that's gonna be. I want to go to that game. When is that? Where's that gonna be held? I want to see that game.
It's going to be streaming this weekend. Go to Ben & Barry on football. All the information is there.
Oh my God, I'm on it. I'm on it. I got to see that.
So wait a minute. How do we do the bias? We look at the net points. So the Storm's net points were let me see, 32.8.
Right.
Their net points. The Dark Angels net points, 28.4.
Okay.
Ergo, the bias plus favors the Storm.
Whoa. What about turnover differential?
I didn't say plus because I didn't see that number in the league stats. They didn't really get into turnovers.
Okay.
So I only went by net points.
So the bias goes to the Storm.
Bias goes to the Nevada
And
Storm.
by how much?
4.4.
4.4.
Yeah, because the Storm had a net. They were winning by a net points of 32.8 points per game, and Dark Angels at 28.4.
Okay. I'm going to take the Dark Angels.
Oh, listen to him. Jasmine, don't listen to him. Don't listen to him, Jasmine. I just make a friend and you already screwed it all up.
God, hey, I'm allowed to pick who I want.
Oh man, so you're going with the Dark Angels, eh?
I mean, I'm gonna do some research. I might change that. When is this game supposed to be held?
I think it's this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, I believe.
Oh shoot. I need to do some research and find out the turnover differentials and how did they do against each other head to head.
Ah, yes, head to head and turnover differentials. Yes, those are the type of things we look at on an ongoing basis during the season. Yes. We haven't had the chance to.
Don't be mad at me out there, y'all. I was just joking. I got nothing against the Dark Angels. I got nothing against anybody. I was just making a joke. But I'm extremely interested in seeing this game. I'm going to try my best to clear my schedule to make sure I'm free to watch that game.
All right, and we can talk about the game next week and see how that all turned out. All right. Good stuff. As far as I'm concerned, that wraps up Ben & Barry on football for the week of, what's this, July 21st, 2021?
Yes, sir.
Guess what tomorrow is?
Thursday.
Absolutely. What else?
Your birthday.
Yeah, baby.
But I wouldn't remember, didn't you?
What can I tell you?
You see that?
What do you got? Hold it up a little more.
Yeah.
I can't see it too well.
It says, "Tell Uncle Barry happy birthday."
That's my baby D.
Yep, she wrote me a note and slid it to me.
If I could
blow it.
If I could see, I did okay. If I could actually see these glasses.
The funny thing is, I saw it on Facebook this morning, but I can't remember nothing. I just saw it on Facebook this morning. I was like, "Oh, Barry's birthday tomorrow. Let me remember that." Yeah, right.
There is so much discussion about Facebook, good and bad, but I will say this much: they really helped me remember birthdays.
Yes. Without a doubt.
I'd really be screwing up birthdays without them. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, this was a fun show. We had a chance to go through, the offensive line. We finished up all the offensive lines.
Yeah, it was rough. It took a lot of research.
Because that was new to both of us. And again, we both did a lot of learning.
Yes, I learned quite a bit.
And I'm looking forward to seeing how
Now,
this plays out.
starting next week, we're going to dig into some stuff that people are going to be really, really interested in. The offensive line, defensive line, that's for your hardcore fans. But this is going to be for hardcore and casual and fantasy guys.
And Madden.
And Madden. Next week, I'm doing tight ends.
Tight ends.
Tight ends.
Ooh.
Tight ends.
Well, are we going to do all 32 in one show?
All 32 in one show.
All 32? Okay, fantastic. Because I don't expect my team to be there until we get to number one.
Top three?
Top three, yeah. Top three.
That would be my guess.
Top three.
We'll have to see what Pro Football Focus says.
Absolutely.
In my estimation, Mr. Kittle is top three.
Oh, no doubt. I'm
arguably number two.
Hey, look, him and Kelsey are given what's the camps? They're doing football tight end camps for other tight ends that are already in the NFL.
Yeah.
So they're coming to those guys to learn how to become better tight ends. So yeah, those are the guys. So okay, fantastic. One more thing before we go. You went to a tournament last weekend, right?
Oh man, we sucked. We were horrible. Bro, first of all, it was 98 degrees out there.
Oh yeah.
At like 9 o'clock in the morning.
Holy mackerel.
I'm exaggerating. It was probably 88 degrees at 9 o'clock and went up to 98 degrees. It was crazy hot. We lost the first game 13-6. We lost the second game by 2 scores, but that's only because they got a pick six late when we were furiously trying to come back.
Now, you told me that when you got down there, you would find out whether you would be playing guys your age or other people, depending on who showed up.
It's funny. The first game was against a young team. The second game was against the only other 35 and over team out there. And they beat us. And I put on our Facebook page when we got back to Philly, I was like, I understand, the situation and the travel, and some guys didn't come and we had starters missing and things like that. But when you lose to another team that you're going to face at nationals, the way we lost to that team, that's troubling. So, if anybody that's on our 35 and over team, the Philly Legends, is watching this, and I've already put it on our Facebook page, guys got to be accountable for their own physical and mental states. You know what I mean? You cannot not work out and call yourself a football player. I don't care if you're playing 35 and over or not. You cannot care about how you handle yourself and still go out on the field and try to play the game and affect the outcome of the game because you're not in shape or you're not ready mentally and physically because your teammates are involved in this. You cannot disrespect the game. Don't disrespect the game. If you want to call yourself a ball player, I don't care if you're in a 50 and over league. You got to do whatever you got to do to make yourself the best version of yourself you can be at that time, at that age. And if you're going to go out there and compete, that's how I see it. Maybe I'm crazy. I don't know.
You are, but that's beside the point. It's tough. And again, these guys are averaging 35 and older, right?
Yeah. So we have guys that range in age from 35 to 50.
Wow. I can't imagine 50 being out there still. So
oh yeah,
that's an amazing thing. So I give them credit for that. All right. Any last words? You don't want to talk about the basketball finals real quick, do you?
No, there's no need to talk about the basketball finals. I just say this. I'm about to get off of Facebook for a little while because people are so bored that they keep putting up these crazy things. Every time somebody has a good game, they're the greatest of all time. Chris Paul is the greatest point guard of all time after game 2. Now nobody will mention his name. Now Giannis is the greatest player. Oh my God. It's Jordan, LeBron, and Giannis. Yo, take it easy. Calm down. You know? Although Giannis has a fairly good argument. I mean, beat Durant head to head just what, a week or 2 ago? I'll leave it like that. That's it. That's it.
Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation.
All right, that's it for me. What do you got?
That's it for me, baby. Go Knowles.